This video is being brought to you by Cutting Edge Gamer. If you upgrade graphics cards often, Cutting Edge Gamer is the perfect option for you. Lease the newest graphics cards on the market, such as Nvidia's RTX 20 series, for a low monthly payment. Click the affiliate link below in the description to find out more. Skip it up and that up. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Rich of ReviewTechUSA, and I have a very special guest with me who is now thinner than me.
Oh wow, that's saying something.
Yeah, man. I haven't brought that up before. Yeah, I'm the fat ass here in this conversation.
I'm clocking in at 349, man. So you got to get down to at least where I am, because this is no achievement. I've still got 100 more to go before I'm happy. So
well, dude, with how big you used to be, it is a freaking achievement. Are you kidding me?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
But I am now on with Boogie2988, who I have been following since before I even think I made videos on YouTube.
And I hope you know I'm a big fan. I watch your content pretty regularly. I wish we were talking under happier circumstances, but today's a bit of a frustrating day for me. Thank you for letting me talk about my side of things.
Dude, that's the reason. I saw the Quartering's video on what happened, and he went to bat for you. And it made my blood boil, because I have literally been in an identical situation a few times, and it needs to stop. And these conventions and sponsors, and they can't give in to the vocal minority. But now I'm going to let you. I apologize, guys. I'm just doing gameplay right now, and because
I like your voiceover videos more anyway. I do like it when you do gameplay, honestly, because it gives me something else to look at. Otherwise, I'm looking at my phone when you're doing video. I know it's controversial to say that. I love both of your videos, but I think sometimes I like the gameplay more because I'm just looking at my phone most of the video anyway. I'm just listening to you. I treat it like a podcast. It's so weird, and I'll say it because I said it in another video before. I'll say it in 10 seconds. I did the whole thing. I tried to go all out with a guy who does filmmaking for a living, and the same amount of people watch, and my channel grew the same rate. But I loved it when you're unboxing in that setup and stuff like that. That's what I love, is when you do like product reviews in those setups. Okay, anyway, yes. So Wizards of the Coast is one of my favorite companies in the world. I love that company. I have been playing their games since 1994. I have bought everything Richard Garfield has invented. I spend probably $10,000 to $15,000 on Magic cards a year. Now that I've got some YouTube money, and even before that, when I was on disability, earning $6,000 a year to survive, $7,000 a year to survive, I was still playing Magic. I was obsessed with that game. And I've worked with Wizards of the Coast directly before. A couple of years back, if you go to my channel, there's a video where they paid me they were offered like $5,000 to create a video and let me do whatever I wanted to do. So I did a charity stream. I decided to do a local free tournament. I invited people of every color, every shape, every size, every sexual orientation to my local tournament to play for free. We had some 180 people, I think, if I remember the numbers correctly. Don't quote me on that, but it's over 100. And I interviewed a bunch of different people, and we raised $12,000 for St. Jude's by the time it was all done. They paid me $5,000 to do that. I used that $5,000 to turn it into $12,000 and kept nothing for myself. And so 2 years later, I reach out to Wizards of the Coast, and I'm like, Wizards, I love you guys, and I want to help promote MTG Arena. Will you work with me? And they send me this letter. I'm not going to say from who, and I'm not going to say specifically what it said, but it basically informed me, because I have been supportive of Unsleeved Media in the past, not even that I'm supportive of everything he does, or that I have just been supportive of him in the past. They would no longer want to work with me moving forward. They said I fancied myself as some sort of go-between, which I do. I consider myself a bit of a moderate, even though I lean fairly left, but I consider myself a bit of a moderate leftist. And I always try to give my conservative friends or conservative fans a chance to speak, a chance to be heard, to feel whatever they say, whatever they want to do. And I guess that's upsetting for that company. So fast forward to this D&D sports thing. I had a friend reach out to me and says, we're putting together this D&D sports thing. It's for charity. I know you love charity. Will you be on my team? And I said, I don't think I can, because Wizards of the Coast hates me, and they don't want to work with me anymore. And as soon as they find out I'm attached to it, they're going to shut the whole thing down. And she says, I don't think that's the case. I will ask Wizards of the Coast. Let me talk to them for you. And I said, fine, but they're going to say no. So she gets back and she says, I talked to somebody at D&D Beyond, and they said fine. I said, not D&D Beyond. You got to go straight to Wizards of the Coast. You got to go all the way to the top and find out that for sure I'm okay with that company, because I've been told by somebody at Magic that I'm not. And I want to find out for sure. And if you get that okay, I will do whatever you want me to do. But until we get that okay, I can't commit. And then the next thing I know, they've announced me for a thing I haven't even committed to yet. I haven't even said I'm going to do it.
I heard that. It's so ridiculous.
It's so frustrating because my friend had made 100% sure that they knew I was down as a maybe. I'm down as a maybe. I'm down as a maybe. Until we get Wizards of the Coast to sign on, until everybody's okay. I don't want to rockety boats here. I don't want to upset Wizards of the Coast. I want to get back into favor with Wizards of the Coast. It's one of my favorite companies. They produce my favorite game. Of course, I want that company to like me. But obviously, they're not going to, and that's fine. And so they announced me, and then less than 24 hours later, they pull me because of backlash, which is fine. I get it. I can be controversial because I'm fairly moderate, because I only lean so far left. I get it. I understand that. But it's so frustrating to me that they announced me when I hadn't fully committed. And then it also frustrates me because it's a charity thing. Who is this benefiting? What was I going to do, Rich? Was I going to say controversial stuff? I'm going to say stuff like I cast magic missile at the darkness, even though I don't think we should engage with Nazis on their violent level. Like, what am I going to say or wrong? What kind of wrong think was I going to do during the Dungeons and Dragons charity stream? Now, I don't understand.
Now, besides for the correlation that you had, I know Jeremy from the Quartering. That's how I know him. What other, they were using what you said on the H Street podcast against you, I heard too? So
again, this summer, I said something that I have now been educated. I think was a stupid thing to say.
I've always been a big fan of slowly, methodically changing minds because I don't like it when gay people get killed. I don't like it when somebody gets murdered for being gay. So let's not rile up the fucking crazies, okay? Mm-hmm. Let's just go slow and easy.
I meant well with what I said, but I said that I felt the way that we pushed through equal marriage rights was equality, marriage equality, was had a negative impact because it was getting people killed. Now, people in the community have since educated me and said, Boogie, we're getting killed anyway. Isn't it cool that we can at least get married? And once that was pointed out to me, I was like, sure. And I said in the system, you should try to work the system. People pointed out to me, well, Harvey Milk tried to work the system and he got shot, Boogie. So that doesn't work. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. It was a stupid thing to say. I've since recanted. I've since apologized. I've since been educated. Doesn't matter. Nobody cares. I said one wrong thing on a podcast that had 30,000 people listening that I knew millions of people were going to see video podcasts of. And I was so confused and so anxious. I wasn't thinking before I spoke. And I said one stupid thing, and it's going to haunt me until I'm dead. And that's fine. But again, what I want to focus on is I don't understand. I wonder if the D&D sports guys knew I was not fully committed, knew that they were going to pull me. I almost wonder if someone there decided to announce me knowing they were going to pull me 24 hours later.
As a publicity
stunt or something. Because that's what it feels like to me at this point. It seems like some level of, I don't even like to use the phrase, but I guess this would be one of the rare instances this applies, but virtue signaling or whatever that's called. I don't really even understand what that's called. But it seems like they were like, hey, look at how progressive we're going to be. You should watch us. And the worst part about it is I do know I did look at the tweets. I did look at the clapback. And some of the people that were involved certainly are just true LGBTQ allies who were very concerned that I'm problematic. And I get that. I understand that. But there are also a few regulars, people who I don't even think are that committed to LGBTQ stuff. They were just there to try to take something away from me. Which is fine because I didn't even commit to it anyway. So they didn't take anything away from me. But that was their goal, and they were successful.
I have had people, because there was, which I used to be stupidly engaged more with trolls trying to be a sport, which was the dumbest thing you could possibly do when it comes to trolling. I was on a live stream one time and lost it with one of my trolls, and I used a homophobic slur against them. And the delicious irony is that because now they took that snippet from the Periscope stream, and every time if I get a sponsor, probably within 24 hours, I will get an email from the sponsor saying, hey, Rich, what's up with this live stream clip? The irony of it is that the person who sends that clip out, or one of them, I should say, who used to have a Twitter account, on their Twitter account, there would be like Nazi imagery. They don't care about that. Right. My point being is that they don't care about the LGBTQ community. They're doing it to cut people down, and it drives me insane.
And there are plenty of people out there who do genuinely are genuinely good, righteous people. You know what? And if you're a genuinely good, righteous person and you're doing the genuine good thing, you got my support to that extent, right? Sometimes I don't agree with how we do that. Sometimes I don't necessarily agree that the toxic manner that people do try to do that is correct, but the reason I feel that way is because there's so many disingenuous people out there. We saw that during Gamergate. We saw that during all of these other controversies. We're going to see it moving forward every day till the end of time. Disingenuous people flying a false flag, pretending to stand for something they don't, just to sow the seeds of chaos. And when you are toxic, when you choose to be righteously toxic, you are indistinguishable from the people who do not genuinely mean it, and it negatively serves your cause. And I've always felt that way, and that's one of the most one of the most controversial things I've ever said. And yes, it's something I'm working on in therapy right now. I am a chronic peacekeeper. After a lifetime of trying to be the peacekeeper in my household growing up in my abusive home, try to be a peacekeeper on the internet now. And I know it's a futile effort, but I'm neurotically wired that way, so there's not a lot I can do about it.
You're getting better at it, though.
I guess
you're moving off the fence more. I've noticed in your later uploads.
I've agreed to come here and defend myself. Most of the time, I wouldn't even bother defending myself. Most of the time, I'd just be like, well, let them think whatever they want to think about me. But I'm very frustrated at this point, having been what I consider to be an LGBTQ ally my entire life. And I have money. I've invested in a local gaming store and spend money frequently at a local gaming store that is a LGBTQ safe zone. I bought product there so I can keep that store open when I can get it cheaper off of Amazon. I stood on the street corners of Fayetteville, Arkansas, trying to get same-sex marriage on the ballot in this state. And I don't know. I've tried to be the best ally I can be. I get that I'm not a very good one. I get that I could do better. I aspire to be better.
But you can't even say that, though. You can't. I mean, here's the thing. What amazes me about human nature, how it's a crappy trait, is that a human being could do 1,000 good things. They trip up once. Everything good that has been done is wiped away, and everyone focuses on the negative thing, and no one ever forgets it. Which is
why, if you see me, I will just I will just try to redeem every YouTuber. It doesn't matter, the Jake Pauls, the Logan Pauls, the all of these nasty people on YouTube. I'll always try to hope that they can be redeemed, because that's how I was wired, right? Like, I want people to get better. I don't want to destroy. I want to create. I don't want to tear down. I want to build up. I want to help people who may be wrong about stuff or make stupid mistakes, and help them correct and help them become better allies and better people and to do better things. But people are so afraid. People are so afraid. But again, you and I have talked about this before, and we'll talk about it many times in the future. There are definitely people out there who would rather tear down than to build up, and that's fine.
The other thing I want to discuss too is that what these vendors and sponsors don't realize. Like, look, you don't want to work with me, you don't want to work with Boogie, you don't want to work with whoever. That's fine. But when they make things like what happened with you public, what it does is it actually strengthens the cause of your trolls and harassers and detractors. And
which is the last thing I wanted from any of this. I don't want to harm that company. I understand their point of view. Wizards of the Coast, if you see this, anybody at that company understands. I understand that this is going to guarantee, this new controversy is going to guarantee we never work together again. But I want you to know this was never my goal. This was never my design. All I ever wanted was to signal boost your company. All I ever wanted to do was get more people playing your games. Magic the Gathering has been one of the most diverse and loving communities I have ever enjoyed. People of every color, every nationality, every race, every sexuality, sitting down to play a game together. I have celebrated that. If you watch the video I made for Wizards of the Coast, I celebrated that in that video. That's the whole reason I loved Magic, because even though I was a fat, ugly, dumb, nerdy, idiotic kid, that community welcomed me with open arms, and I wanted that for more of your players. I wanted that for Dungeons and Dragons. I don't understand how we've become so divisive that someone who has said something stupid in the live stream is no longer allowed to play Dungeons and Dragons. There's no longer allowed to stream Magic the Gathering Arena when you were paying tens of thousands of dollars to other streamers to play your game, and I wanted to bring in an equal-sized audience for free. I volunteered to do it for free, and you turned me down. I was waiving tens of thousands of dollars to bring in 1,500, 2,000 people to watch me stream your game. And this is a company that instead gave streamer access to two of my friends. Check them out, Big_Breakfast on YouTube. Two of my closest friends gave them access, knowing that they frequently appear in my videos, knowing that we are friends, knowing full well that they only get about 15 or 20 people watching them every day. How do I not take that as a personal slight? I know it was one. It had to be. It had to be. My friend Jacob from Big Breakfast is in every video I make for the last year. You know we're friends, and you included him on the streamer program, even though he has a small audience. Now, don't get me wrong; he's an excellent streamer. You should follow him. You should go subscribe. They're very good at what they do, but they have a fraction of the audience I would. I could have brought so many more eyes onto your game. Why wouldn't you let me do that and let me do it for free? I can't imagine. I can't imagine.
I'm sure I'm sure it is the petty issues that you mentioned too, but I think now, especially with how much of an outcry there is against anyone who is any negative history with, is that as soon as there's any flack thrown at a company, even if it's like two people and there's a vocal minority, companies really cower quick now. I literally had, just to show you an example that ties into what's going on, I had a sponsor who I will not mention, that they received one negative email, and I got a phone call from them at like 1 a.m. and they dropped me. They said, we're suspended. I'm like, why are you doing? Because we got a negative email saying you did this and this. I'm like, oh, okay. Did you actually see if that actually happened? Because it didn't.
All right. Well, here's what I will tell you, and here's what I will say, and I hope that our audience does this. Anybody that chooses to continue to support Rich moving forward, knowing that Rich may have made a couple of mistakes, but certainly a lot of this is blown out of proportion. Knowing I've definitely made some stupid mistakes. If a sponsor chooses to work with either me or Rich, I hope you guys support that sponsor. I hope you guys support me and Rich through that, because those are people who have chosen to wade into this scary new world we have called 2018 and choose to be brave. And I hope that if you're interested in the product, you choose to support us through it, because thank God for those companies. Otherwise, I don't know what the world would look like. If every company in the world acted like Wizards of the Coast, we would have no advertisements. We would have no sponsor money coming in. There would be nothing, because everyone would pull. Everyone would walk away. Everyone would hide, and they would only give streamer codes to people who have only 20 to 30 streamers per
Because
stream.
Boogie is a human being. I'm a human being. We've said dumb things before. We will continue to do dumb things. I'm sure I will screw up probably tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I'm looking forward to seeing what stupid shit I say on Twitter tomorrow. I'm really excited to see what terrible thing I say, because I'm sure I'm going to, because I'm a 44-year-old man who's lived his entire life. The world seems so different to me today than it did when I was growing up. When I was your age, I'm not your age, but their age, Rich. It's such a different world. But I will tell you, my grandfather once said to me, he said, in a moment of frustration, he said something very racist, which I will not repeat. And he slammed down his remote control and he said, sometimes I don't even recognize the world anymore. And then he stopped himself and he thought for a second. He goes, maybe that's a good thing. And maybe that is a good thing. Maybe it is a good thing that I don't understand the world, that the world has gotten a little more progressive. But I got to tell you, stuff like companies like Wizards of the Coast folding to 10 people, to 20 people.
That's all it takes.
If that's all it takes, then I don't think that's a better world. I think that's a far worse one. I'm all for progress. I'm all for progression. That doesn't seem like progress to me. That seems like regression to me.
It absolutely is, and that's why I wanted you on. It's these companies, they don't realize beyond. It's not even from the financial perspective. Fine, yes, it sucks to miss out on money. Who doesn't want to have extra money? But they don't realize how it damages you as a human being, and it damages your brand.
And can you imagine how difficult it is for me to still, right here, I'm literally sorting Magic cards as we're talking. I opened these Magic cards in my stream last night. I cubed with my friends Saturday. The company that makes the game I have spent $100,000 on. The company that makes a game I am obsessed with and have played weekly, if not daily, for 25 years, hates me. The damage that does to me as a person is devastating. Every time I pick up these cards, I feel that negative association.
Because it's not just a product to you, because it's been such a huge part of your life. You identify part of that with you as a person.
Every friend I have in this world, my roommate, my best friend of 25 years, every friend that comes over to my house on Saturday night, I met them over a game of Magic the Gathering.
Wow.
Yep. And that company despises me, wrecks me as a person, ruins me as a person.
And they threw you under the bus over something so frivolous. It's unreal.
Yep.
Well, Boogie, thank you for coming on and clarifying that. And I'm hoping that beyond this situation, which I'm glad you got to air out, that it'll make other venues and sponsors. Look, I'm not saying don't look into Boogie or into me or another person that you're looking to endorse, but to succumb to a small group of people and to make it a public thing that ends up humiliating the person or hurting the person, and not even from a financial perspective, put that aside, is just very detrimental, and it has to stop. In 2018, with social media, misinformation and slander and things like that spread very quickly, and companies just need to stop overreacting in a second and take a step back and look into it more.
And I will be the first person to say, please allow me to say, I'm the first person to say that I have said and done some stupid stuff, but I think if you ever do the deep dive, you'll understand that I am not a bad person, that I have good intentions, that I want good things for that community, for my community, for your community, for everyone involved, specifically the millions of people that have watched me on YouTube. I want them to have happy, healthy, good lives. I may not agree with how you guys do it. I may not agree with the methodology. Sometimes I may not even agree with the exact message, and I know they're going to take that out of context. But here's what I do agree with. I do agree with live and live, let people survive, let people be the person that they want to be. I don't care if you're not harming another person. And I don't think there's anything harmful about the LGBT community. I don't think there's anything harmful about even wrong think. If somebody thinks poorly about something, if someone thinks something controversial, think whatever you want. What I do care about is actions. And if you choose to bully people on the internet, regardless of your political affiliation, I think you aren't a very good person. I choose to never bully. I can't imagine bullying anybody. I can't even imagine the mindset it takes. I can't imagine what it takes to try to take away from somebody or tear somebody down. I can't imagine it. And so at the end of the day, if you don't want to work with me because I have a live and let live philosophy, that it doesn't matter whether you're straight, gay, white, black, whatever your sexual orientation, nationality, race of origin, I don't care. I don't care. I just want you to have a happy, healthy life. If that makes me too controversial to work with, then ship me, man, and move on to somebody else. But I honestly don't know why it would.
If that makes you too controversial to work with, and the people that think you're too controversial do that, shouldn't sponsor anybody then.
Right? Because I mean, who hasn't in their lifetime? Who has in their lifetime made a stupid mistake?
No, nobody. But these sponsors and vendors want to find people that they at least they swept everything under the rug. Well, I think that's what it comes down to.
Well, thanks for having me on, Rich. I really appreciate you.
No problem, Boogie. Thank you so much for coming on, and I hope
keep up the good work.
You too, my friend. Thank you. Hey, congratulations! If you made it to the end of the video, you should subscribe to ReviewTechUSA so you can hear me blabber on some more. Also, too, starting this month, I will be live streaming solely on Twitch. I'll have a link to my Twitch channel below in the description. And last but not least, make sure you click that like button. It helps out the show big time. See you guys in the next video.